2023, no,
Uh-huh.
2024, pretty much an increase, I would say 25 to 30%. We
Right.
have been okay, but I know that a lot of people got, pretty much a 50, 55% increase
Yes. In
because the house,
insurance.
yeah, because the house is made of wood, unfortunately, for them, and but they pay the extra for that.
Yeah, I heard some people's insurance went up to hundreds of dollars per
Yep,
month.
yep.
Per month, and some people can't do that. So that's going to be an issue for anybody
It is.
such as us who take over property subject to, because we, as I say, advocate getting the properties insured. Because lo and behold, especially in that part of the country, if we do get a property, we want to make sure we're covered by insurance too. Makes sense, right? We're going to
Sure.
own it. We're going to be the owner. So
Yep.
we may have to pay a premium, but maybe not. There's ways that we can get around that, but that's something you definitely want to cover. Again, where you're at, Kevon Aaron in Georgia, excellent, excellent for subject to. That's subject to county, as far as I'm concerned. Always happens down there. Georgia, Texas, Florida, Arizona, Las Vegas, California, big. Everywhere else is big too, but it generally starts in these states
Hmm.
and then it spreads out to the rest of the country when you're
Okay.
talking about the real estate downturn or the real estate crash, so to speak, whatever you want to call it, because subject to is an absolute fantastic way to really get properties during a particular time. Because the way
Hmm.
subject to works is that you're dealing with homeowners who can't sell their property, right? Or if they can, they have a short time frame that they can't hang out for 6 months, 3 months, even 2 months for the property to get sold. And there's a very, very thin amount of equity, or many times no equity, especially with a downturn.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
we teach this a lot, and some people do try to take it and get subject to transactions during the real estate height of the bubble, which can happen too, because we've had people contact us and sign their houses over during the height. They just knew what they wanted to do, and they were just going through situations, private stuff, but they'll do it. However, I want to tell you, when a downturn happens, it's going to be gravy. It's going to be really, really good, for the fact that most investors have to have a spread almost every time if they're going to take a property and flip it, wholesale it, whatever the case may be. Being that when a downturn comes, the large majority, not all, but the large majority of properties are going to be upside down, which means that the mortgage will be up here, but the price and value of the property be down there. And they won't be able to sell when they have to, when they want to. So people who just want to sell and can sit back if the property doesn't sell, then that's not the type of person or the prospective client that you want to contact for subject to. Subject to is for people who must walk away for various reasons. Look, I got to go. I can't wait for it to sell. I tried to sell and it's not going to happen. And so rather than have foreclosure on their credit, right? And also, 7 to 10 years of that on there. And also, the bottom line is they are still going to be responsible for insurance, taxes on the property while it's there. A lot of times, lenders, when they foreclose during a downturn, because we've had it happen, right? There's so many foreclosures that they don't take the property right away. So it's sitting there, right? Sitting there, accumulating, weeds and whatnot. And guess who's still responsible for those taxes? The homeowner. That's right.
Hmm.
People will go into the property. They'll take away, all the piping, all the toiletries, windows. They'll camp up in their squatters, big time. So that's another issue. We probably are
Yeah.
going to see a big preponderance of squatters in a lot of properties. And don't be surprised, folks, if clients contact you, potential homeowners, and want to sign the property over to you, and people are already in there who they don't want in there, squatters, yes. So that's always going to be happening. So we got to be careful about that, but we have ways to go around that. We'll address those things as we get into the course. Okay.
Just a question for you, Eric.
Yes,
What
go
do you
right
think?
ahead. We're recording now, so please ask questions. This is the best way to get all of this out so we can make sure that all your concerns are addressed and we can, discuss the theory and how this works. Go right ahead, Jack.
Okay. Um, I agree. And not so long ago, I was thinking, that the interest rate is crazy high, is going to go down, meaning that's when the interest is going to go down, the price of property is going to go up. But at the same time, I heard that there is so little, inventory. The price is so high, people cannot buy. There is the actual owners don't want to sell. That that's going to create, that overheated market, and like you just explained,
That's
that
right.
in fact, the only way out is a correction with the price that's going to go down, like you just explained, and after,
That's the only
the
way out.
the mortgage is going to be higher than the price of the property. Now I'm in the middle. I just don't know anymore, and still, I have pretty good understanding of the market, and I'm just thinking those two options are possible. You're thinking that the most chances are the correction is going to happen.
Well, a correction is going to happen. When? I don't think it's going to be a quick one. And this is my humble opinion, guys. I'm not a suit I can't see the future, but I've been through two crashes, the
Uh-huh.
2001.com and the 2008. And let me tell you, the last one took 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. 2008 prices did not correct themselves or go back up till 2018, 19. Okay. This one, I think, is going to be, if not the same, longer. Okay. And Jock, you were correct because everyone, when they heard last month that the Fed was going to, drop the interest rate by a quarter, whatever percentage it was, they expected
Yeah.
mortgage rates to go down, and they
Yeah.
expected
It's
an
going up.
influx of people to sign, the sign the mortgages and buy these properties. But what happened? I can tell you, in the last 3 weeks, interest rates actually went up. They're 6.5% now. They're increasing. So just like everyone expected, all these, oh my God, investors and people who are into, financial things, and they're like, wow, they don't understand it. But I knew that was going to happen
And,
because
and,
this
and
trend is the same as before.
yeah.
Same as
And one last thing, because I don't want, to take, and speak all the time. There is another thing I'm thinking that's going to get a big, 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 big impact on the economy. That nobody is thinking about this one, or just a little bit, sometimes some people, that we have a crazy debt. The debt is going
yeah,
to be $37 trillion at the end of the year.
right.
Before 2019 was almost only 20, and that's a lot already. But you imagine from 20 to 37, that's going to take all long in order to be able to swallow the bullet, I would say, and to
That's
go
right.
back, to minimum the 20%, the 20 trillion. That's going to take ages and ages, and that's why I don't believe, that we that's going to be good for us. That's bad, but that's going to be
It's going to
good
be good
for us.
for us. So the bottom line is, I tell people, look, if we don't do this, Jacques, Kevin, Constance, Cash Queen, and Eric, and those who are listening, right? What's going to happen? Somebody else is.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like the last time, just like the time before. Somebody's going to get these properties. They're not just going to sit there. Somebody's going to claim these properties, either subject to or some way, and mostly subject to, because that's really the only way you can get multiple properties without incurring your credit or a lot of cash. And also, people be willing to walk away. I know it's incredulous to a lot of people that people will give you the keys and the deed and walk away, but they will when it comes down, when their back is against the wall. And that's what's going to be happening to a lot of people.
Okay.
That's what's going to be happening. And the black swan of this whole event, folks, is going to be the unemployment. It's starting already. Like here in Phoenix, Intel, they laid off 350 people last week. CVS is laying off 200 people per week, 3,000 people around the country. So these people have homes. These people have mortgages, and the job market is simply not there. Okay, the job market is not there. So we're going to see a repeat of the past when people could not pay their mortgages, could not pay their rent, could not pay their cars. Some people are going to want to pay the mortgage. It's okay, well, shoot, if we just got to eat the ramen noodles and some bread, we're going to make it happen. But if you don't have a job, your intentions will be null and void anyway. That's what's going to cause this problem. Okay. This crash is going to be precipitated and helped by the lack of unemployment, the lack of employment, I would say, thereof,
Mm,
So that's what we're about to see. So anyway, I appreciate that.
you're right.
And, I like to discuss the theory and the things related to subject to and situations that might egg this on. Again, this is not our first go around. This is our third go around. We've been doing this for 23 years now. And so we're pretty much familiar with subject to. We know it very well, but we don't know it all. We're never going to say that. We're always learning. Laws and rules change as well. And we'll talk about some of the rules that will affect one of the strategies that we use, mainly putting your properties in a land trust. Okay. So on the books right now, there's some rules that may not keep the land trust as private as we're used to. And we'll, as we get that information, we'll share that with you. However, the land trust is the best way to hold property, I'm going to tell you, and the best way for anonymity and privacy of the properties that you hold. So we're still going to continue that. We're going to make some tweaks in how we do the trust based on what we believe is coming down the road. Okay. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can always ask them on these live forums. You can email, you can text, you can call. We can do one-on-one. Kevon, you can do one-on-one if you have any questions. Jacques, you already know you can, Constance, you already know. Cash Queen, one-on-one. If you guys in Phoenix, visit the office right here. This is a real building, real stuff. That's not no fake background. This is what we do. That's we're serial entrepreneurs, so we do a lot of other things. So welcome to come and see us. We'd love to see you and talk to you and whatnot. Okay, guys? So this session, yes, ma'am. Oh, Constance, go right ahead. Go right ahead and jump in.
Benefits, right? Because you said for me to stick to the script. So the benefits of subject to is
very good.
It has a certain, and this is for Jacques, je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
Because you can use it when you can't use anything else. So let's say you can't sell the house, you can't wholesale it. So nothing you can really do with it. Whoever's in the property, they're about to foreclose. So there's nothing that they can do either because they've exhausted all of their options. Mm-hmm. So they've already tried to do everything they possibly could. They couldn't get a loan. They couldn't get a payday loan. They don't have the money to cover it in their savings.
Right.
They already tried to sell. Sometimes other investors have interacted with them and that didn't work out. And so you're basically the savior for these people. And this subject to strategy is for the end all be all. So when subject to customers, like when they call the phone, we tell them, hey, have you exhausted all your options? Because if they haven't exhausted all your options, you're wasting your time and you don't want to be bothered with time wasters. Because time is the one thing we can't get back.
That's right. So we'll teach you how to avoid the average seller who just wants cash, a big amount, equity, because, that's for a different strategy. And maybe you have that underneath your belt. But like she said, subject to is the way to go. I'm telling you, if you guys stick with this, strategy, you are going to get houses. And if you do it the way we are showing how we do it, most likely you're going to get them with no cash, and little cash. A lot of people do subject to. I'm telling you, I've been to their seminars. I listen to them online. I speak with them sometimes, and these guys are just knocking on doors and giving out checks and cash. And that's okay. That is okay. But why do that when you have the type of homeowner seller who's in a bind, who's willing to give you the property as long as you fulfill your obligation by taking over that mortgage and helping them out.
Okay? And presenting it as a mortgage relief
program. That's what we do.
That's the key strategy to not spending anything up front.
So take notes, folks. You need to present subject to this strategy to your client or your potential clients as a mortgage relief program. That way, they know that they're seeking you for help, and in their mind, they should actually be paying you. And they are. They're going to give you the keys and the deed to the house, and they usually will never expect any cash from you at all. Okay, so she's absolutely correct. That's how we present the program. We're going to teach you to do that and show you, we're going to show you how we do it. Okay. Very good. So let's get down to the meat of it. Okay. It's a subject to, and this is a strategy that you literally, folks, can take to the bank. Okay. We live in a real world. You got a lot of infomercial gurus that are online, YouTube, TikTok, this, that, and the other and whatnot. A lot of them just sell courses. Right? A lot of them just sell courses. They're not into the real world thing. They generally just want to make money on just having you buy a course and whatnot. We practice what we preach. We actually keep a large majority of our documentation for tax purposes, of course, because we do taxes as well. But we keep a large majority of our documentation to show you that what we have is real signatures on it, showing you that we get no money. We don't have to put any money down, this, that, and the other, right? So that's the kind of world that we live in. Now, the thing is, with subject to, it don't matter if you have a lot of money, 100 million, 50 million, 1 million, 50,000, whatever in the bank, and a sky high credit rating. To us, it doesn't make sense to use your own personal resources to get these properties. That's why we believe subject to is definitely a better way, okay? So this is a real strategy. That's what it is. That truly doesn't require cash or credit. However, sometimes it may require some cash, and we'll talk about that. But most of the time, 99% of the time, it will not. And you can still make serious, consistent cash flow, okay? So it's fundamentally like this. So we find houses that we can acquire. I like to say acquire, because if I say buy, I'm implicating that we're going to pay cash. And that's why I'm trying to change that language. But just so you understand it, because you'll see some signs on the road. People say, we buy houses, they're buying it subject to the mortgage, all right? But we don't buy, we acquire, all right? Without using our cash or credit, okay? Mm-hmm. And while we get the house or in contract with a homeowner, we simultaneously are marketing that property for a tenant buyer. See, we're not going to wait until we close the deal, right? Everything is done. The homeowner walks away, we get the keys, and then the mortgage is due. We like to make sure we have something lined up. We're going to show you how to do that simultaneously. So this subject to strategy we're going to teach is in actually two separate parts. One part is the acquisition of how to hold the properties, all right? And the other part is how to dispose of the properties, right? And when we say dispose, you're definitely going to hold them for long term. That's our number one strategy, but we do have a short-term strategy because a lot of investors, folks, when they find out that you know how to get properties and you do get them and they don't, they're going to knock on your door, call your phone, email you and ask you, do you have any property subject to? And you can just flip it to them very, very quick and make some money. We're going to talk about that too, right? So to us, that is the way to do it, all right? You contract the homeowner, simultaneously you contact, or you market for your tenant buyer or your investor, let them know you got these properties, this, that, and the other, all right? So we get from one and dispose to the other, and then we keep the difference, all right? So now sometimes you may be fortunate. You may get a property that will cash flow. And when that happens, we get to put all the cash in our pocket right away. Because I'm telling you, we've had a couple during the downturn of the last time. They actually had equity. However, they were in a divorce, so they couldn't get along. They didn't care about the equity. They just wanted it done. So you're going to come across some gems like that, all right? And you do them the same way. You take them subject to, you get the deed and you flip it or you move into it, or you simply put a tenant buyer in there, right?
Erica?
Yes, go right ahead.
We also teach what to do and what not to do. So we'll teach you things that we did because we actually made mistakes and we admit that we made mistakes. Yes, because we're accountable. Mm-hmm. So some of the courses, most of them, because I took Pace Movies course myself, and they don't admit to the things that they've done that were incorrect or any bumps in the road that they got on. They make it appear as though it's just smooth sailing, mm-hmm. But it's not. You're going to come across little things that we're going to tell you that we wish someone would have told us on our subject to journey. And then we also research things. I like to do a lot of research. So does Eric. So we'll be telling you different things, different laws that have changed, things that are coming up there, changes in subject to currently.
Right.
Because some people just follow a script or they hire people to follow a script. And it's just like a YouTube venue or it's the same class exactly the way it is. But how can it be the same class taught in the same way when things are constantly changing?
That's right.
That's why when we tell people, when you first take this class, you continuously come back and check on it. You don't have to pay again. You just come back and get your update. It's like recharging your battery because at times things change. Yep. And it's good to have those updates to keep you, above par and, with the current, and with the current time that we're in, sorry, that little beep beep got me off guard. The current time that we're in, and that you're up to date with the current data. So that's really important. And some of the mistakes we made are pretty hilarious. And some of them you'll be like, how or why or what? Are you serious? They're gonna hit you like, what? So, sometimes maybe these things won't happen to you, but if they do, you will know exactly what to do in that case. When it comes up, or if it comes up, you'll know exactly what to do because we'll have you prepared for it.
That's right. So Constance always will have some little tips, and I think it's a balance because she's been in this just as long as me. Again, she was a tenant when I first contacted her, and then she turned into an employee, and then now she's a bona fide partner, and she has a nice balance of things. There may be things I like to do a certain way, and she may be telling you another way to do it or a similar way that we can all get a balanced view. So do not be afraid of contacting her as well for her input on the subject to strategy, okay? So here's how it pretty much works. Again, we're gonna get a property, right? And this part here, the first part, we're gonna discuss about how we get the properties, how we lock the properties down. But a lot of people don't understand when we get the properties, we're really gonna make some money. And some people say, well, how come the homeowner couldn't do that? Now, I'm going to tell you why the homeowner could not do it, because they simply don't know how to do it. They don't. Most homeowners will just put their house on the market as the last resort for rent. And with rent, guess what? You can only get what? First month's rent, security deposit. Then you'll have to deal with maintenance. You still have to deal with repairs. You still have to deal with taxes, upkeep, this, that, and the other. Now, we deal with those things too, but we pass them on to a third party. Is what we do. And we know how to do that. And we have the documentation and the experience to do that. And most homeowners simply don't know what to do. And that's why they don't do that. A lot of them have tried renting and knock on our doors or call us and say, hey, here's the property. These people won't get out. I had to go to eviction court, this, that, and the other. But the bottom line is we're going to show you how to avoid those things too. Okay. We're going to show you how to avoid those things too, because we have a lot of experience. All right. What we're offering to you is not only documentation, but we're offering to you bona fide experience. All right. So when we get those properties, we're going to actually sell them. That's right. But in a different way, on terms. We're going to teach you how to sell those properties to people who are going to come in your property. They're going to give you a nice fat chunk up front. It's called an option payment. And then you're going to make money on the middle, which means that you're going to make money every month for the term of the lease that you're going to put them in. 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, right? Then at the end of that term, they're going to buy from you. So we like subject to because you actually make very good profit. Make money in the front end, middle, and the back end, just like I said. And so that's holding long-term. What if you have to hold these properties for 10 years? Yeah. What if you have to hold these properties for 10 years? I'm telling you, it's going to be a definite cash cow per property if you do it correctly. Now, there are things that can have bumps in the road and go wrong along the way, and we'll talk about that too. But the bottom line is you make real good money, and the lease options allow you to make money without coming out of your pocket for repairs, without coming out of your pocket for upkeep, without coming out of your pocket for maintenance, because we pass those on to the tenant buyers, and most homeowners don't know how to do that. All right. So it's simple as that. And a few months down the road, or maybe a year or two down the road, your tenant buyer is going to be able, hopefully, to get a mortgage, and you get paid. Simple as that. Now, what happens if they can't get a mortgage? Guess what? Just redo the lease. Redo the lease agreement, redo the option agreement. If they can't do it then they move out. We put another person in it. We've done that. Okay. And we don't fix toilets, like I said. We don't fix locks. We don't cut the grass. We don't mow the lawn. We don't shovel the snow. Your tenant buyers do that. And if you pass it on to an investor, guess what? They do that too, not you. So this is pretty much hands off. The only thing you're going to be really doing with subject to, you're going to be doing a lot of administration. That's what a lot of it is. Okay. A lot of it is administration. Anybody have any questions or concerns or comments? Okay, great. So we're going to market. We're going to teach you about marketing. You market your property to a motivated seller. You don't market your property to regular sellers, right? So let's say you have a seller who has a home worth $230,000, right? Their remaining mortgage is $205,000, right? So that means there's $25,000 in there. Their monthly payment is $1,100. Those are good. We won't see that again. That's the stuff we were dealing with in the last downturn. Mortgages of $1,100, $1,400. We would shy away from $1,700 mortgages because we thought it was insane to take over something like that. But today's market, the average mortgage, especially here in Phoenix, is $2,500 a month. Okay, so it's a different dynamic. And also, it's a different dynamic when we're putting in tenant buyers. And we'll talk about that too. All right. So once we get the property, we're going to resell using the lease option. We set a sales price. Okay. And the beauty about that, you can set the sales price at whatever level you like. However, you definitely want to set the sales price higher than the mortgage. And we'll talk about that too. But bottom line, we set the sales price. The tenant buyer loves that price because they know that when appreciation happens over the years, they're still locked into that same price. This is one of the things that people don't mind giving you that option payment because they're paying for that. So the option payment gives them the first right of refusal and a locked in price and the ability to buy the property that they're already renting. All right. People do it all the time. You'll see rent to own. You've probably seen rent to own, little bandit signs like these. Of course, this one doesn't say rent to own. This one says take over mortgages and whatnot, but you've seen them, and we see them already popping up in Phoenix. A lot of these investors are doing rent to own. That's the way to go, folks. If you have a personal property, you may not want to do that because rent to own indicates that you're going to go ahead and turn it over to them, and the tenant buyer is going to take the property. But if you have a property that you're looking for cash flow over 3 to 5 years, rent to own is the way to go. Less cash out of your pocket, no maintenance, no repairs, and you're going to make good money. Upfront, middle, and back end. That's how we do it, okay? That's exactly how we do it. And that's it in a nutshell, okay? Now, subject to is a tricky kind of strategy, but it's not impossible to learn. We call it advanced real estate strategy because it's more than just wholesaling, right? Or flipping, where you get a wholesaling, where you get a contract from a seller or a homeowner, then you flip it to an end buyer and you get your cash. That's pretty simple. You just transferring paper and that's it. Of course, you have to do a few things in between, but with the subject to, you are acquiring this property. You're going to be the owner of the property. And you don't need a license to do this because you don't need a license to rent your property out. Some states require maybe a little yearly license, like in Illinois, we have one up there. We do have to pay the city, I think it's $25 for the license and X amount every quarter, whatnot. But generally, that's for the property. You don't need a license to do what we're doing or to sell because homeowners do not need to get licensed in most states, every state that I know, to sell their own property or to rent their own properties. You're going to like this. Plus, it also adds to your wealth. See, if you're taking a property, right, and you're flipping it to someone else at the end of the year, at the end of the day, you don't own anything. What's your net worth? Your net worth is based on what you own. Now, that brings to another subject, right? What you own, you don't want everyone to know that you own things, right? Because, you'll be a target for people who might do some frivolous lawsuits just to get your property. No, you have a couple of properties. So we're going to teach you how to place these properties in a land trust for privacy, and also to help you circumvent the due on sale clause should the lender find out that you have the deed. See, most of the people who teach you subject to tell you that, if the lender finds out you have the deed, you're done. With us, you're not done because we're going to place it in a trust. And we're going to show you the advantages of the trust and how to use trust law, because we've had lenders call us to call the loan due. And we'll tell you what to do when that happens. If you place your property properly in a land trust and make the payments, the lender is not going to call the loan due. They're in the business to get that mortgage and that note paid, not to collect real estate. But if you give them the opportunity to collect the real estate and do the same thing by doing the same thing that the former owner did, not paying the payments, then you're going to get foreclosed. And that's going to happen. All right. So subject to deals are typically done without specific approval from the mortgage company and the lender, right? Because the subject to transaction is a private transaction between you and the homeowner, guys. is not between you and the bank. A lot of people confuse the subject to strategy with an assumption. When you're assuming the mortgage, yes, you're going to be dealing with the bank. You have to give them your social security number. You have to give them your ID. You have to apply for a mortgage. They have to check your credit. You have to have a down payment. They may raise the interest rate. That's what an assumption does. We're not doing assumption. We're not doing assumable. A lot of people misconstrue or confuse subject to with assumable loans. And the thing about assumable loans, I mean, you can only do a certain amount. With everyone's debt to income ratio, even with an 800 credit score, you're only going to be allowed to assume maybe 2 loans in your life because they go basically by your debt to income, right? So how many subject to deals can you do? Hundreds at the same time, because it's not going to be related to your debt to income ratio or your credit. That's why this is awesome. So again, we do subject to without specific approval from the lender. However, we do have a mechanism in place that if the lender does find out that the deed has been transferred, we don't want to lose it, right? We used to have a fellow here in Phoenix. We started in 2001, 2002, who was doing many subject to deals. However, he was not putting his properties in a trust, wasn't locking down properly, and he would just simply get a quit claim deed, believe it or not, and lost most of his properties. When the lender found out that this guy had the deed now, okay, they called him up and called the loan due. Or they told him, guess what? You can assume this loan. And he couldn't do it. His credit was poor. He didn't have the cash. He wasn't able to do more than one loan and assume all these loans. So he lost a lot of his property. So we don't want that to happen to you folks, all right? So not only are we going to teach you how to use the subject to contract to lock the deal in with the homeowner, we're going to show you how to put it in a land trust, how to construct it in a land trust to keep privacy, prying eyes from knowing what you actually own, and also to help you circumvent should the lender knock on your door or rather call you on the phone or email you and say, hey, we find out that you own this property now, it's been transferred, and it's against the Garn St. Germain Depository Institutions Act of 1982, blah, blah, blah. But we have a way around that, and it works, folks. This is not theory. One thing you'll like about us, I think everything we discuss is not theory. We practically have done everything like Constance said. We made a lot of mistakes, and that's to your benefit because we can share with you, like she said, what we've done, what we shouldn't do, what we did do, all that kind of stuff, all right? So the subject to is absolutely a great way. So most of the material, folks, that we sent you is for your reading, all right, for your studying. And we like to send you material for each session and download it ahead of time. Unfortunately, I didn't get it ahead of time like I wanted to. So you can use that material that we give you as the basis of a lot of your questions, okay? So that's how it's going to be in the future. We say that a lot of time, but we're going to keep on point with it. So now, today we send it out at the last minute, and we do apologize for that because we still do run a business, but we've already made concessions and ways to go ahead and get this to you, if not the day before, early in the day, so you have plenty of time to read the material and use them for the basis of your questioning. And I'm telling you that because we don't want to make this first session long, drawn out. We try to keep it under an hour, and we got about 20 more minutes to discuss anything you like discussing, any of the material that we've given you, or any questions that you may have. Go ahead, fire away. Here we go. Let's make it happen.
Eric, did you cover what's the difference between
Not yet, but I was hoping someone would ask me that. But of course, we put that in the material for people to read, okay? Yeah. A lot of you people who are watching the video, of course, you can read this on your own time and contact us later, or you can have those questions for the next session. We do allow you for 10, 15 minutes of prior session question and answer, so we do that as well. So if Kevon or Jacques have any Cash Queen or Adventurer has any questions or concerns about anything we talked about or anything you want to talk about related to this strategy, now's the time to ask because we've got about 19 minutes left and we want to keep this under an hour. And Constance, if you do have a comment or anything you want to say, absolutely, you're welcome to do so as well. Okay. So this session, like I said, is Q&A. We get the theory out. Yeah, and you wouldn't believe, folks, that we have a lot inside you, a lot of experience, and sometimes we may not know what to say all the time to you. We're gonna keep talking and yapping and whatnot about subject to. If you ask particular questions, yes, we're gonna do that. She's laughing. If you ask particular questions, you'll be able to pull out of us some things that we will be able to share with you. We have a lot of knowledge and experience, so don't be shy.
Or it might be a hidden gem
Yeah.
that we might have forgot about. You know, you saying that might trigger that gem. You might get some extra special information on the fly.
Right, absolutely.
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Kevon.
When it comes to marketing, how easy is the marketing
When it comes to market,
to acquire
easy to market, you say?
to acquire the properties? Yeah.
Yes, because you do a no qualify, which doesn't mean no verify. Let me get that
But
together.
what does he mean? Marketing for homeowners or marketing for
So,
tenant buyers?
for you to acquire the properties from these people who are going through hard times or hardship, or as you say, pretty much. So let's say I am ready to start the business
Mhm.
and I'm trying to market to get these people to call my phone. How does that marketing work?
Oh, that marketing works just like every other marketing. We believe that you can have all the documents, you can have everything in your head, but if people don't know who you are, Kevon, what you do, and how to contact you, they're not going to call you. Okay. Just like you contacted us, just like Jock contacted us, just like many of our students contact us over the months, the years, and the weeks. We market, we put it out there, and they said, "Oh, that's the name of that business. That's what they do. That's the number. Let me call." And this is exactly what we're going to teach you to do when it comes to get these clients. Now, the beauty about it is that you're going to be in an environment that precipitates people actually looking for solutions. Okay. A lot of people have already going to try to hit the lottery, get a loan, get a second job, or whatever the case may be, and it's simply go to the casino. We've heard all kind of stories, and they get more and more and more in debt. So what's going to happen is that these people are going to contact you by looking online. Our friend right now is the phone. Our friend right now is the desktop. Our friend and our tool right now is the laptop, social media. People are going to naturally search online for solutions. So most of us are, we're not old in here, but are pretty familiar with the old phone books and the way that people used to search for things online. Now, I mean, search for things in general, but now it's definitely internet. So we believe, and it proves to be true, and everyone can tell you who's in business, you have to put your business out there so people know that you do what you do. Now, there's another thing that you should do too as well. You have to implement something that we call search engine optimization, which is changing because of the AI. And we'll keep up to those changes too, and we'll help you with that as well. Because people will type in keywords naturally, type in phrases. Okay, so Kevon or Jack or Constance or Cash Queen or Adventure, when you're looking for stuff for food or whatever, you're going to type in a related phrase or word for that, right? Let's say you don't know the name of the place, near me, right? And it's going to pop up. So the same strategy, Kevon, we're going to use to get these people who are in trouble. And they type in a lot of key phrases such as I'm in default, mortgage default, take over my payments. We've had people contact us like that. So we teach you to take this strategy and take this marketing strategy and use keywords and key phrases and put them into your marketing, particularly if you have a website online, because Google, Yahoo, Bing, major search engines, they crawl the internet. And what they use is when someone types in a keyword or key phrase, Google or the search engine shoots that phrase over to the most proper representation of what the person is looking for. And that's how your site's generally going to come up. Okay, that's how it's generally going to happen. Social media, Facebook, website. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Ma'am.
No, Devon, that's the question.
Oh, I was trying to
Yeah, I
So what I was gonna
Oh, I'm sorry.
what I was gonna say was meeting people. I'm an in-person person. I'm an extrovert, so I'm an extreme extrovert. And so I like to meet people. So I go to networking events. I like to meet social workers. I'll go to a job fair that any social organization is holding. So it could be the local welfare office,
Right.
or it could be the Women's Center, the YMCA. The YMCA can have a clothing giveaway, and I'll show up and give them my business card because it's somebody that they're going to interact with that needs help. And that's what they do. They give people resources. So I always introduce myself, I make jokes, make friends real quick, ask them a few questions. This is what I do, and if you know someone that needs this type of help, please pass out my business card. Sometimes I give them like 10, 15, a host that, of business cards. So that's good too. So networking, as far as marketing, is really important. I always
And we'll teach you all that.
I
Yes.
always tell everyone to read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So that's like a really good book because you can make friends with somebody in a couple minutes after reading that book if you apply it properly.
That's right.
Eric?
Yes, that's absolutely true. So, Kevon, you said you had a question or your comment to that? The internet's a little choppy, so we see you freeze over there. I don't know what happened. Maybe if you can't get, oh, he just logged off. So you must have some technical difficulties. So he'll be back, and I'm sure he can text his question. Devon, if you're still listening, you can text your question to us. Sometimes people have to do that or log back in.
I have a question, but I'm going
Yes,
to
sir.
wait. He's coming back. Just
Okay.
1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, good. So, like Constance said, we don't just give you the documents and just say, hey, here you go. We want to show you how we market successfully. And the thing about marketing, a lot of people, in our humble opinion, put too much money into marketing. Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But we're going to show you how to use the
Okay.
organic way because it's free, right? So we're going to show you how to use the organic way to do that. Okay, here comes Kevon. He's back on. We'll let him, as soon as he gets situated, which should be in a very few seconds or two, we'll let him go ahead and continue asking the question or making the comment that he wanted to make.
Sure.
So, Kevon, if you can hear us, go right ahead, sir. Yeah, sometimes we do get these technical glitches, so it does happen. So, Kevon, if you're speaking,
Yeah, sorry.
there you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think my Wi-Fi was giving trouble.
Sure.
And I keep getting shut on and off. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
The question directly I wanted to ask was, with your program, do you have like a website that you all have that we could use to do that same thing in terms of the marketing?
Yes, absolutely. We have a couple of
Okay.
websites that we're going to share with you, with websites that we built for our use in our office. We're going to show you the different ones. We build them for other people. And of course, we tell people we don't have to build your website if you're so inclined to do it. But you can go to our sites, like you asked, Kevon, and use the examples, even the verbiage, because there's so much business out there. We don't mind. You can use the verbiage, you can use the technique that we use, and you can use that in your own website because it works. Certain keywords, if you look at our sites, you'll see that we repeat ourselves a lot in the websites, and we do that on purpose. Okay, we do that on purpose. That's keyword. We don't want to do too much keyword stuffing because a lot of times the algorithm will ignore that. Keyword stuffing means you have too much keywords in your website or web page or paragraph and whatnot. But we'll show you how to use it to the point that it's consistent. So we will show you that. If you want us to build a site for you, we'll be happy to do that for you as well.
Another question. When it comes to owning an LLC with the new tax laws in terms of doing this business, you have any knowledge of that?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And we do have knowledge of it because we do taxes, number one, and we also form LLCs for people, number two. And we also have to report now to the FinCEN using the BOI reporting thing because I'm a statutory agent for at least 500 LLCs in the state. So we have a lot of people coming to us for that. So we will get, that's a very good question. I don't want to delve into that right now, but to answer your question correctly, Kavan, we know exactly what you're talking about. We will help you with that in reporting and also either forming or maintaining your LLC. Whatever you need, we'll help you with that as well. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Right, well.
I am located sorry, Eric, I'm going to speak now.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm located in Florida. Would you be able to do just what you just talked now, meaning to do the reporting for my company?
Absolutely.
Okay, because you know what? That's always better to get everything, under the same umbrella in order to make it simpler and to avoid complication.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we tell our potential students, which are our clients, we believe at the same time, that
Sure.
you can opt to build a website yourself, because some people are so inclined, and that's okay. And we can give you hints and tips about using certain words and SEO on page, back of the page strategy, all different kind of ways. Or you can hire third party, or you can hire us. It's up to you. But if you want us to go and facilitate that, we certainly can. We certainly will, because we have another company called Digital SEO Inc. And that's the company that we use to build the websites, do the marketing and stuff like that. So we're well equipped to help you out. Absolutely. We'd love to do that. And we'll do it in Florida for you. We'll do it in Texas, do it in Georgia, California, whatever the case may be. Okay.
I'm kind of okay. I built a website, a couple of years ago for another company that I have, and I've been able to, to do it, and it looks pretty good. Not the one I have right now. That's something else. But just to say that, anyway, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's something I would love.
Yeah.
I have another question. I heard, about the lease option, to lease to people, they pay you, you are able to get to cash flow and so on. And after you can, sell the property and still make, the difference between what you paid versus what is the market price at that time.
Sure. I
would love to do at the same time something else in order to generate some cash flow and a little bit more money at the very beginning. I'm thinking about doing the following thing. There are properties on the market right now that, as you just said, they have a little bit of equity or not at all. I'm thinking about, maybe going to be lucky enough to get property with a little bit of equity, and they are kind of in very good condition, and to sell the property right away. To be lucky enough to get, for example, I buy the property for $400,000.
Right.
The market price is $450. I have already 50 grand of equity on the house, which is wonderful. But instead of selling, I'm selling, I would say the right, I believe it is, the right for the for the subject to the new owner. Like this is going to benefit of a better rate.
Mm-hmm.
Is going to be very interested to purchase the house, because instead of a 7%, I don't know, he has a 5 or 4 on a house.
Sure.
Obviously, that's going to cut, his mortgage, every month by a lot. Mm-hmm. And to pay, the full market price for him, that's a no-brainer, because he's saving so much anyway for 30 years every month.
Right.
That's the kind of strategy I would like to do as well.
Absolutely. That's an excellent strategy. And when we get those type of properties, believe it or not, like I mentioned earlier, you will get some gems, as Constance said, because those are the ones that have equity. And when you get them, you have a choice: sell it right away if the market, allows, conditions allow, or hold on to it. It depends. And you're going to make that decision, Jack. That's the beauty about it. You're going to make the decision. And when you do make the decision, we still teach you to have full control of the property. It means you're going to have the deed, which means this owner is still going to subject to the property to you, right? And you're going to get the deed, even if you promise the owner some cash. So you'll see that the contract that we use have stipulations for money paid to seller at closing, such and such. in case those things are part of your deal. It just makes sense, and that's an excellent way to make money. Absolutely. Now, if
Okay,
you're fortunate to get that little equity or something that you can flip, then praise be to God, that's gonna be awesome. And you can still use subject to do that. Yes.
Because I have some ideas to do some stuff. I've been lucky enough, to work into the construction business for many years and so on, meaning that I could develop my own project as well. That could be here in the United States. I won't go in Canada. That's something, I won't never go back over there, no, seriously. That's a very bad idea.
Oh, wow.
But there are some other places. No, seriously. There is a disconnect. The disconnect between how much the people make. I mean in terms of salary versus the price of properties is totally insane. When you are thinking about Toronto, you find nothing below $2 million now in Toronto.
Oh my
If
God!
you go in Vancouver, that's $30 million now, and
that's for average property, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even, I moved from Toronto not so long ago to go in Ottawa, and my son is playing football over there, meaning that's good. But that's still, close to $1 million, for a property. I'm lucky enough to make a good living, but I would say, that's still, crazy expensive for most.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate, because that's something, I would love to do, in order to be able to generate cash, like I just said, that's idea, and snowball faster.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's absolutely possible to do. I had a partner back in the day when I first started, Jacques. He never put tenant buyers in his property, ever. As soon as he got them, he did what you did. He either found a way to sell it immediately and create cash, or he still sold it to an investor and created cash. Upside down. No equity, because see, there's other investors who want to put a tenant buyer in the property. They understand that you got this property subject to, that it's upside down. There's no equity now, but they can produce some cash flow immediately and they will pay you for it. So you absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Don't get me wrong. I love, both strategy that just, for quite some time, in order to generate some cash, because it's so easy, because like you just explained, I'm not playing with my own credit rating and credit score, meaning that I could buy 10 property, in the next 2 months, I'm fine. But I could do 10 property. I'm just giving, that as an example.
Yes,
if I do 20 grand on 10 property, I have already 200 grand.
Right.
But don't get me wrong, the secret recipe is to keep the property, because we have the benefits of everything.
Tax write-offs.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, look, any CPA or tax preparer or financial advisor worth their salt, if they have a client who has paying a lot of taxes, if they're smart or honest, they will tell that client, look, get a piece of real estate, any piece of real estate. Once you get that, the depreciation and the write-offs that you can do will save them so much taxes. So you're absolutely right. The benefit to that, and it creates wealth. You're accumulating wealth, your net worth, 10, 20, 30 properties that you never signed on the dotted line at the mortgage company, but you still own it. That's still your net worth. You're right. And one of the benefits of subject to, God forbid, let's say you do have 10 properties. Let's say a big financial debacle happens that most of Americans just can't get out of. And as an investor, you lose your properties. You foreclose. Guess what? It never forecloses in your name, Jacques, or your entity's name. Yeah. It still forecloses, unfortunately, in the original seller's name. Now, we do full disclosure with them. We tell them this because we have to tell people the risk inherent of all type of real estate investing. Subject to, regular, they all have risks. So we're very clear, we're very honest, we're very upfront with these disclosures. And once we do that, then we're covered. Plus, we have them sign affidavits relating to that. Hey, it could foreclose if it does, this, that, and the other. It's also in the contract. So that is a benefit rather than, let's say you do have super excellent credit, Jacques, and you get 10 houses somehow from the lender, and you foreclose in a crazy crash that we've never seen in America. You lose out. You have 10 of those properties on your head, probably millions of dollars of debt for 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? This way, yeah, you have 10 properties, right? but that debt is not on your head, and it's individual now to each individual owner, even though combined it may be 10, 20, 30 million, but it's not that bad. The owners understand that because, hey, they had a debacle, and I'm sure, a lot of them, if something of that magnitude would happen, they would kind of see, oh, he couldn't do anything about it, but you still fulfilled your obligation in good faith. And that's what's important in this business. And we teach you how to do that. And we have the contracts to back up the good faith arguments with that, because things can happen as an investor, as a human being. You could lose your stuff. Who knows, right? So,
yes. Perfect.
I'd like to
go ahead, Constance, please do. We put the microphone out there for you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we in the same office, just different perspectives. So I had to turn my microphone off, and Eric just had to turn.
That's why we had to echo.
So you can hear me better. Okay, so one caveat to subject to is let's say a certain property, let's say the property's in Malibu, but if the crash happened, but that's a prime property, right? But right now it's not because of the crash, but you acquire it during the crash. If you hold on to that property 7 to 10 years, you may go through the FOMO period and actually, multiply your money that you invested in the property, or the money that you didn't invest in the property. If you do it the way that we teach you to do it with the mortgage relief program, you might come up on about $2 million, $5 million. You might come up on some money, but that's just that example.
She's absolutely right.
It could be a house in Nova Scotia. However, you got that property, subject to, if you wait, it's going to benefit in the future if you sit on it. Some of these properties, like we had a property in the Poconos, and it was during the crash. New York, upstate. That? And that was the highest property that we got at that time, and the mortgage was $2,465.
Back then.
So it was like, woo! So we got the property, and we're like, and then we started getting the phone calls once the neighbors heard that it was on the market, and we gave it up. How we sat on that property, Eric and I probably wouldn't even be teaching this class. We'd be somewhere sipping,
made a lot of money.
Mai Tais on some island that we bought somewhere. Yep. That property, when the FOMO period came up,
when the values went back up, it went to the
skyrocketed.
So we learned now not to get rid of all of our properties, which is what we did last time. How many did we have? Last crash? Like 40s?
No, it was more. It was 100 properties. It was like 112, but it was like 43 that we held on to and did the tenant buyer solutions on that.
And at the end of the day, Jacques, we didn't hold on. Like when okay. Like I said, it took 10 years, right? 2008, 2018. We didn't have any in 2018, 19 that we should have held on, because we had some tenant buyers who we had to sign the deed over to, because the properties, they didn't go up, they didn't right side up yet, and they were ready to buy. So we simply had them pay us for the deed. So we still made money on the back end, even though they couldn't get the loan from the mortgage company. They held on to it. I have one client, I think the property was in Pennsylvania somewhere. No, not Candace. That's another one.
That's another
It was
one.
in Pennsylvania, and they rented for 2 or 3 years, and they got their credit together, and they went to the mortgage company. The mortgage company that they went to, the lender is going to do an appraisal. They did an appraisal, and guess what? The value was not there for what we were selling it for. It was still upside down. Here's our tenant buyer. What am I going to do? I said, oh, all we did was sell them our interest. We sold them the deed for the same amount of money, 25, 30,000, whatever we're going to get, right? They're happy. They held on to that property. 120,000 was the mortgage, right? Lo and behold, in 2018, that property sold for $700,000. Wow. You know how much equity, how much money they made by sitting on it? They called us and told, oh my God. So had we done the same thing with multiple properties, is what she's saying, we would be in a better position. So we make mistakes. But the bottom line is, you can see the potential of what you can do with this kind of business when you hold on to these properties. Now, some you're not going to want to hold on to. You want to get rid of as soon as possible. But we're telling you, hold on to a handful. It's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit you.
That are really
cash flow. Yeah,
they're going to cash flow when the FOMO hits. But you got to be patient and wait, because when I studied the periods of crashes, sometimes the economy came up in 7 years, sometimes it was 8 years, like this time it's 10 years. Yeah. So you don't know how long you're actually going to have to wait for that property to really zoom up.
As long as it cash flows, who cares?
As long as it cash
exactly.
Yeah.
But as some type of sequence. We have a student that took this class and he equated it to Fibonacci's code. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it was really
Mathematical
this
Fibonacci
mathematical
sequence.
So
She's into that kind of stuff. You see
yeah.
all the backboard, she's into that, you know, like
I'm
Einstein.
smart.
She's
My
too
brain
smart.
works. Anyway, this is for another project that I'm doing now that has nothing to do with subject two.
Okay.
But as I was saying, okay, so Andrew came up with this philosophy and it was really on point when once I studied it. So it's like every 7 to 10 years. So once you hold on to the property and that seventh year come, look out, because it's going to skyrocket. You don't want to miss out on a few $1 million.
That's right.
Like Eric and I did.
Oh yeah.
No, I totally agree. That's I would say most of the property I'm going to acquire, I'm going to keep them.
Yes.
Most of them. I was just using that as an example, just in order to get some a little bit cash flow for doing some stuff. But definitively, I would say a good 90% I'm going to keep that for me, because I'm not working only for me. I'm working, with my son, and I want to build, for me, of course, but as well for him and for his future. And everybody knows, that property 10 years ago were, way cheaper than now. And like you just explained, there is always cycle. And if you think about it, we had, in 1990, bad, recession. 2000, bad recession. 2007, bad recession. 2019, bad recession. That's almost every 10 years.
That's right.
That seems to be pretty much, I would say, constant, but close to it.
That's right.
Meaning that that you will adapt your strategy, according to the up and down, but still you can do really good money during that time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the beauties about subject two. You can take properties that are upside down, no equity, and cash flow them. See, a lot of investors, Jacques, sometimes we go to these little meet and greet investors thing, and the majority of, real estate newbies, even beginners, olders, whatever, they're in there. Most of them are wholesalers, and they pass up deals that are subject to. They say, oh, the lady didn't have any equity. The guy didn't have any equity. I couldn't get I said, what'd you do? Oh, we let it go. My God, they left so much money on the table, because I'm like, if you had known this strategy of, his main strategy is wholesaling, right? Get it from a price from a homeowner, flip it to someone else. He has a cushion in there, right? And he makes his money. But how many properties? The guy told me, he said 20, 30, 40 properties before he got the one that he wanted. 20, 30, 40 subject to potential properties that the homeowner was at his wits, foreclosed on and walked away, that the guy could have taken. So we're able to take so-called non-assumable properties that have no cash flow, no equity, and make money out of it. That's the beauty about subject to. Like she said,
great.
Like everybody agree, you hold on to it for 10 years. Look, if you do it property, you don't have to pay the taxes. You don't have to pay the insurance, because your tenant buyer in the property, the contract stipulates that they pay those things, which is going to be tied into the mortgage. It's a no-brainer. You're just going to do administration. That's all you're going to do. Yeah. Now, of course, you may have a tenant who leaves and they trash the price. Those things are going to happen, typical things. Then that's when you come in, but you've made so much money, you should have made enough to have that cushion. That's a no-brainer, And then, of course, like you said, Jacques, you might want to flip it to an investor immediately. You're going to make cash there. There's investors right now. I tell you, if I get a property today that's that they want, I can call them and I say, give me $50,000. They will give me a $50,000 check in an instant for a subject to property that's underwater, upside down. As long as they can put a tenant in there, they're sold. So you can make money as quick as you get the property, flip it to an investor, guys. Mix up your portfolio, like Jacques said, and like I think Kevon, Aaron, I think you're interested in doing that. What are you going to do, Kevon? Are you going to flip it to investors mostly? Or are you going to put tenants in there? You're going to move into one yourself, probably. That's what we did.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for one like that. But the neighbor right next door, there's the wife passed away. I think I mentioned that to you before. But the wife passed away, and there's a sign still out there that they're selling the house. And I told my wife this was a piece of cake with not doing the class on the other side of the whole thing, and it's right next door. And right now it's vacant. There's a big sign in front, and I guess she knows the owner, the husband, but he walked away from the property. Had we been in the program, we would have let him know that he could sign the deed over to us, and we take over the mortgage, the balance of the he could go away, and we have a property that we could go ahead and rent it out right on the spot.
Absolutely, because while they're having that sign out there, Kevon, right? Guess what? The insurance is racking up, mortgage payments is racking up, the taxes. That's how we go to the homeowner. We approach them. Look, you're going to pay 6 months of insurance, taxes, and mortgage payment until it sells. Guess what? We take it off your hand right now. Right now. You don't have to worry about those. Right. And then if they do say, well, you know, I know you're going to make money, this, that, and the other, we say, oh, we can give you something, but we'll show you how not to give them something up front. You can promise to give them something when the property sells. When can it sell, Kevon? Might be a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You do a promissory note and they're happy. Oh, wow. I can get that when, get it when it sells, and we'll take care of everything. So you're right. That probably may have been a potential deal, as you said, that, you know, had you been, you know, had time to get yourself immersed and familiar with the program, that you could have used as a test subject and probably could have gotten it. Yeah, probably could have. Yeah.
But another question, how about the time for the realtor? Time has passed and the house still sits there. Could that still be done in terms of still acquiring a property?
Yes, we call those expired listings. In other words, people have a realtor and the listing has expired. They're disgruntled. They go back to the realtor. Oh, I have it on the market for 3, 4, 5 months. It didn't sell, and the listing expires. We love those because now you can contact the homeowner and say, hey, you had a realtor? Yeah, guess what? I'm not a realtor, but guess what? I'll take your property right now. Right now, today, we'll sign the contract. You turn it over to me. You don't have to worry about those mortgage. Why don't we? Because they're still paying the mortgage payments, right? They're still paying the insurance. It's a, you know, it's a bite out of their pocket while they're trying to sell for those 6 months and it did expire. So those are called expired listings. What we teach you, Kevon, is to make friends with a realtor in your neighborhood or a couple of realtors. Realtors always get expired listings themselves or through other people who are realtors, because they put them on the market, doesn't sell, the homeowner doesn't know what to do, they already moved out anticipating it's going to sell. Those are the great ones. Like that one you said is empty. They anticipated it was going to sell. They got there. Guess what? It's empty. What am I going to do? And I tell them, look, you want somebody to squat in your property, you're going to have a hard time getting them out. You know how squatters are, right? You want someone to go on your property and take everything out, you're going to have to pay for that. So this is the kind of verbiage and the language you have to use with the homeowners, and they're going to see the light of day, especially when it comes down to the wire. And then when you show them, oh, look, over there's another one, you're going to show them many just like theirs. It's competition. So, you know, it's not like you're the only property. You see what I'm saying? So you got to use the right language, the right verbiage. And Kevon, you're absolutely right. You could have gotten that one, and you should get more just like it. It's going to be an opportunity, especially in Georgia. I don't know why, but Georgia is a great state for subject too, man. It really, really is.
You can still get
Yeah, and
right
across from us. Yeah, right across from us on the other side, there's this investor. He bought the property. It's a fixer-up, but I believe he spent $150,000 on the property. I guess he went to the auction and he buy on the high end and is stuck with the property. And he
like a regular home.
Had conversations with him,
right?
Yes. And it's like he's like, I bounced my head on this one because we have other projects going on and it's just sitting there, and he's like, I guess it's stuck in his hand, he's stuck with it right now. But is there any way that, you know, in terms of like having another investor or pretty much in what we're talking about to be able to still go ahead and, you know, make it work?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of investors that we know here do the same thing as homeowners. They buy a property, but investors buy it with the intent of making money. fix it up, put money in it, put it on the market, doesn't sell. A lot of investors will turn over property subject to. Now, investors are a little bit more astute. They're going to expect some cash, but we're going to show you how you can still promise them some cash when your property cash flows, when your property sells.
Oh, okay.
And you're still going to take it off their hand because they're going to be happy. Whew, I don't have to worry about maintenance, insurance, upkeep, taxes, the mortgage payment, you know, same thing. The same principle applies.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then that same
All right.
investor, they may, you know, contact you when they find out you got one and they see how you do it. They're going to flip around and say, wait a minute. Oh my, oh, wow. Can I get that property back? Just sold you. We've had that happen.
Right.
They're going to realize
Right,
that
right.
they just didn't know how to cash flow, how to make that property make some money. You see, that's what we show you how.
Right.
That's the important thing.
Okay.
Get a dead piece
Okay.
of property, so-called, cash flow it. Simple as that.
How long does it take before on a mortgage before they foreclose on the property?
It varies by state, but generally you can be safe to assume because the federal law says that in any state before a mortgage company, lender, or servicer, whatever the bank, whatever the case may be, forecloses, they have to have an initial period of 90 days. That means the homeowner has to miss 3 payments, right? When they miss 3 payments, it's not foreclosed on. It's called pre-foreclosure. They're in default. The lender now has to record a notice of default at the county recorder's office or places where the deeds are recorded in that county. They also have to notice the homeowner by sending them a certified letter, letting them know that they're in default by 3 months. And then the law says they have 90 days after that to make whole, because after that first 3 months when they're in default, they generally have a sale date, pending sale date, which is 3 months later. So you generally, Kevon, have anywhere between 3 to 6 months, but it's safe to assume 6 months. That 3-month default and that 3 month for sale is generally how it works. Now, even if you get that sale date that's looming, you can call the mortgage company yourself. We'll teach you how to do that, representing the seller, and get an extension or stop the foreclosure. Believe it or not, you can do that. We'll show you how to do that too. See,
Wow.
we have a lot of experience. Okay. Remember, most of the homeowners are doing this. They know they're behind. They lost their job. So guess what? It's coming in the mail. They don't even open it. I've been to homeowners' houses. The mortgage company for October is here. July is here. August. They just know what it is, right? That means if they haven't opened it, another thing they haven't done. I said, have you contacted the lender? No, because I know they're going to call me and tell me I need to pay that. So when you contact the lender now, representing the homeowner, right? The lender is going to be very happy that someone now is talking about making this thing whole. Oh, they're going to give you the ear. Yeah, well, what do you need? What, you're trying to make the bank. See, they'll listen to you. So you're in a powerful position, Kevon. You know, Jacques, you'll be in a powerful position to negotiate with the lender now. I'm telling you, they would rather make payment arrangements and something equitable if the conditions allow than foreclose. It costs them more to foreclose. When they foreclose and it doesn't sell at auction, which is going to happen during the crash a lot, they have to take the properties in under what they call real estate owned. Banks are not in the business of owning real estate, but they have to have a mechanism for the foreclosures. They have to hire a realtor. That's money. They have to fix up the property, curb appeal. That's money. They may have to clean it up. That's money. They have to put it on the market. Hopefully it sells. That's money. You see what I'm saying? Now you talking about, oh, well, I represent, Mr. Jones. My name is Kevon Aaron, and we want to make this whole. Has he talked to you? No, he's never do. We're so glad that somebody's talking. Yeah. So well, what can you do? Oh, how much is the back payments? You figure out what that is with the late fees. You negotiate that. That's what they want to hear. Somebody's talking. And now let me tell you, a lot of lenders have programs called loan modifications. There's federal loan modification programs, and there's also lender in-house modification programs. They are willing, believe it or not, to take the back payments, reamortize it in back of the loan, and start square one. You know why the homeowner won't do that? Because the homeowner never got on the phone and talked to the lender. I can tell you almost every time.
Or
So,
they didn't talk to the right person.
but they didn't talk to the right person. They didn't know how to talk to them.
They
Right.
didn't talk to the person that's actually in charge of the account.
Exactly. So we've gotten the lender to agree verbally, okay, we'll do this, back payments. Oh, then we go back to the homeowner and say, hey, so yeah, looks like we can work this out for you. We didn't tell them we got a modification approved. We just want to make sure, so you can't make the payments, right? You agree? You still want to move, right? Okay, good. And we sign the contract and everything, and then we get the modification approved for us now because we're going to be the homeowners, right? But you're still going to get the modification approved in the homeowner's name. We'll show you how to do that. Remember, one of the documents that we're going to give you that you're going to use, and it's a very powerful document, is called the Limited Power of Attorney. We're going to show you how to use that. It's a powerful document. Powerful. You're going to use it in various aspects of the subject to strategy. So it will allow you to speak to the lender, and the lender is going to speak to you, Kevon, as if you're the homeowner who signed that mortgage, except you're not liable for it. And you'll be able to negotiate price, late fees, modification, forbearance, whatever you want. They will listen to you. It's legal, not illegal. It's legal for anybody to represent someone with a limited power of attorney without being an actual attorney. You could be power of attorney of your spouse if you want, Kevon, over your child, over your father, over a friend who gives you the authority. So we're doing the same thing. We're going to teach you how to get limited power of attorney, a legal document from the homeowner, so we can represent ourselves to the lender property because the homeowner doesn't know how to do that. So there's a lot of skills that you're going to learn here. All right. It's not difficult. It may seem that way, but once you get it, I'm telling you, that's going to be a piece of cake. And that's how you're going to make your deal with the lender. But remember, you're not going to sign any contract between you and the lender. The contract and subject to is a private transaction between you and the homeowner. But you're going to have the lender help facilitate what you need for yourself because you're going to own that property. All right. Oh, he has a technical difficulty, so he bleeps in and out.
So we're going to take this class and we're going to end it. If you have any more questions, email us.
That's my cue.
Call us up on the phone.
Time to go.
And if you have any questions between now and the next class, write them down so you don't forget. And then when you come back, then we'll discuss it at the beginning of class.
And we do apologize for sending the link so late. We're going to try to do our best. At the latest, we're going to send it early that morning so you have time to go over the material and formulate your questions and whatnot. So we do apologize for being late in sending this stuff because then by the time you download it, hold on, let me read this stuff. So
he was late giving it to me. I'm like, okay, here we go.
So we want you to use the basis of the material that we give you to formulate your questions and get interested in what we're talking about so we can have some good question and answer session. The next session, we're going to talk a little bit about this. We still have to cover some things we didn't cover here, but it's mostly going to be on marketing. It's mostly going to be on how to procure or get the property from the seller, how you reach them. Questions and answers and things that we talked about earlier. So marketing is very, very important. Some people think it's boring. Some people think, oh my God, I got to spend. Look, I'm telling you.
Favorite part of the class.
If people don't know how to contact you, they don't know your number, if they don't know what you do, then guess what? You're not going to make any money. You're not going to get any property. It's so critical to this strategy, to any strategy. McDonald's markets, and McDonald's is it's a word that's in everybody's mouth. It's a household name, but they still market, don't they? Right? They still marketing is the key to any business or service. People got to know who you are, what you do, how to contact you. We're going to talk about that extensively in session number 2. All right. So with that said,
good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. That's my cue. Gotta go. So peace and blessings. If you do have any or things that you didn't think about, feel free to call, email, or text, and we'd love to discuss this. And Kevon, it's good to see you, brother. And Mr. Jack, it's good to see you too, brother. And Constance, always good to see you. That's my wife, by the way, in case people didn't know. All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
I'm going to call you.